you. Uh, in her gold-clad armor and half-red cloak with white frill and black trim, opens the door. This, very not marnishly tall, but 6'1" tall woman of broad
Ooh.
shoulder
Oh.
with a large sword at her back opens the door for you.
Here to speak with the captains.
Then come on in.
Hi, Ron.
Tall woman, you say?
What
Kidding.
a woman.
Lieutenant Clint.
Grand Watcher, captains. Came to check in. See where our next steps lie.
Currently, we're ensuring the compounds are intact.
Any news?
Well,
Look at Captain Kane specifically, because he was like the head of that defense.
precisely. We are aware of where all of our watchers are. Roll an insight.
You boy. Oh, thank goodness. A respectable number.
When he says we're aware of where all of our watchers are, it's almost as if there's a silent agreement between Grand Watcher Maven and Captain Kane.
As in, like, there's people in this in this room that should be tricked, so to speak, put upon, or
32 is really good. Almost as if Maven's implying that Captain Kane might have some off-the-books watchmen.
so he didn't say watchmen, he just said watchers. A very vague
Correct.
title.
Because with the Grand Watcher's ring, he's aware of where all the watchers are. But Captain Kane didn't report great losses in securing the ritual sites.
What sort of people does Captain Kane employ? Interesting. Huh. Well,
As of now, we know 2 locations are completely secure. Our last team is rendezvousing in Eastwatch.
what about the Golden Ziggurat?
We have reports from the Restorationist that we are well intact.
Restoration is noble, or is it a new one?
No, it is still noble. He has a working staff with them, though not officially watch, much like Alphonse. They are intact as well. It appears whatever machinations the former Grand Watcher had, he was not pressed upon assaulting the ziggurat.
I guess there's some things even a madman is still wary of.
Perhaps so. I imagine if someone was so in bed with the dark as him, the thought of going to such a place of purgation would be unconscionable. Whatever the reason, it appears, at least on 2 fronts, our compounds are still intact. Though given He rolls his fingers on the table for a second. The state of Eastwatch prior to these events. It's hard to say how deep this went.
Right.
If so, we're going to have to employ an emergency team.
I can make the rounds, see which of the Eastwatch veterans we got here have performed the ritual. Slew their HVT. See who can make a second run. Or a first run, rather.
He nods. That would be good records to have. He looks over to Captain Kane. I can procure them.
If nothing else, sir, I'm sure plenty of us in Crescentine are ready and willing.
Right. With 2 fresh classes, it's not an issue performing their ritual. Given that we're going into winter, it should be easy enough to do for experienced watchmen.
What lies in wait for the rest of us, then? Now, we talked before on procuring allies.
Sending out missives at the moment to see where the noble houses stand. Tonight I'll have to entreat with Lord Telemon. Make sure we can secure a foothold here in Hagelfar at least. Good night. Love you.
Good night. Bye.
Should the worst case scenario happen, as long as we have a foothold here, we can never be pushed out.
I'm sure a couple of people here would like to see Lord Telemon again, if he's willing to stop by. Have dinner here.
I'll consider it.
As you say, Grand Watcher. Some of the people are getting a bit antsy, though. Dayron and some others already set out to go secure Carl. Or neutralize him.
They what?
Look over at Karas. They want to give him his end or bring him back faster and sooner to see if we can cleanse him. Don't worry, sir. I already gave him advice on taking a specialized approach to deal with Carl. I don't think any of... He thinks for a second. Their objective isn't to kill him. But if he's too far gone, sir... Well, you're familiar with Carl's capabilities.
You feel the atmosphere around you cool. Who is in charge of this operation?
Former Blood Knight Dayron. Although, I don't know if anyone ever stops being the Blood Knight.
Roll another insight.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, that's acceptable.
You feel at the mention that it's the Blood Knight leading it up, the protege of a good friend of his, that his tense posture does ease up a bit. I'll have to ensure they're well ready. I'm going to take my leave, Grand Watcher. If you need of me, call. Very well, Captain. Well, it is unfortunate to lose very strong watchmen at this time. How many went with him?
Daron took himself, his cousin Malachi, and Finley volunteered. Daron made it a point not to impose on his fellow blood cloaks. Although I did instruct him to check in with Savage. She was the last person to see him, as he was.
Okay. Do you have any other leads at this time?
Some, sir. I don't know if you've checked in with Poe, but I'm sure you spotted the new shell on his back. We encountered some interesting creatures in the God's Eye. Talking creatures, animals. The one we encountered was a shell. Looking for... This our stops, like, what does my life come to? Looking for his snail. It's,
You see his stoic demeanor. The mask of Captain Kane slightly tilts towards you.
I'm not joking, Captain Can.
Go
fair.
on.
Poe had to go into some, as far as I heard it, portal that was there at the God's Eye. Home of some denizen, wretched creature. But the point I'm trying to make, sir, is that these two seemingly powerful and talking animals refer to themselves as guardians of some zodiac. And like a zodiac, there's others. I don't know what their deal is, but it does seem like they're invested in the state of the world. The nature of it. Literal nature of it. Back when... Gestures out, like past the door. Back when trees and grass used to be green all around. In that vein, I know we're looking to fill some missionary captain spots. Antonius volunteered and is ready and willing. Can I give a bardic to Captain Kane?
Sure.
Bardic, guidance! Ha! You rolled an 8, holy smokes! Oh, 32. Better.
Zodiac Guardians.
Yes, sir.
Did he mention anything about a Sage of Paths?
Yes, he did, sir. Something about a return or something like that.
Return, you say?
Or perhaps a rediscovery. It's a lot to piece together. Apologies, but something along those lines.
You see him put a finger to his mask about where his lips would be. Return is interesting.
Implying that they were gone.
Surely you have noticed the way of the world has shifted.
Yes, sir. I think Leona issuing a 1-year warning, as dramatic as it was only confirming what was really going to happen. A lot of conspiracies and prophecies seem like they're coming true.
What have you noticed about some of your more senior watchmen?
Looking at Maven. This is only me speaking, sir. A lot of them are dropping or ready to hand the torch to the next generation. Don't know how much of a next generation is going to be, though, after a year.
Precisely. Think about it like this. Khan, Rohan, and Lazarus are both 15 years your elder in the Watch. But the gap is not that far between you. And the gap between your current underclass and you is not that wide either.
I'm sure the Grand Watcher had some hand in that.
Oh, I wish I could take credit for that, but I'm afraid not.
Apologies, sir. As instrumental as you are, and I'm deeply appreciative of it. I meant to say former Grand Watcher.
You hear a slight chuckle. Oh, goodness. No, that may be so, but I don't think he even deserves all the credit.
No, that much is true. I got confirmation on that.
Do you remember the bramble out when you were in missionary work with Captain Corvallis?
I'm afraid I arrived on site at a later point, sir.
Unfortunate. It is a patch of land untaken by the dark, bent but unbroken.
I saw some reports on that.
It seems the very life force of our planet knows it is in danger. So it's readying itself for what comes next. It's raising up a group of warriors to fight for it. He rolls his fingers waiting for you to make the connection, but after not enough time for anyone except for perhaps himself, reactivating some of its old measures as well.
The Zodiacs. Dragons.
Perhaps so. I even have more reports of more and more Lightborns being born into the world.
Really?
Once far rare, 1 in 5,000 perhaps. That number has gone to under 1 in 250 from my accounts.
Double the rate. What about Children of Frogna?
Now you're catching on. We might seem outnumbered, but we are not alone in this fight.
I imagine it would be hard pressed to put blades in the hands of toddlers, though.
You might be surprised what 1 year could do for even the uninitiated. Besides, not everyone grows at the same rate.
We're definitely breaking tradition and dogma.
He interlaces his hands, placing his fingertips of his index and thumb together. Did you know the Huatichi are considered full-grown at the age of 13?
The one we sent, the orphan we saved, how old is he?
The boy's grown a lot in several months.
Huh. Interesting.
But he's grown a lot faster than you would imagine.
even by the standards of his people.
Correct. Now, if only we could send effective emissaries to the Orcish tribes, they mature at a fast rate as well.
Look at Maven. What connections do we have to the orcs?
Few and fleeting, but not completely disassociated. Perhaps the proper cities, yes, but the Watch has different reaches. I know Captain Belisarius has done some work with them.
How do they react to Sister Rayla? Sisters of Light in general.
Oh, what is the most appropriate word?
Superstitious.
She's been tainted by their standards, homogenized into our society, taken from theirs.
So might makes right for the orcs.
That's one way of looking at it. A simple way, but not too far from the truth. Survival of the fittest would be more accurate.
Well, from the sounds of it, all our survivals are on the line here.
That is the scope to which we work now.
They'd be powerful allies to have. Look at Maven. Would that be where Captain Belisarius is allocated then? As the only point of contact we got?
We don't have a lot of great options left, unfortunately. Being a half-orc himself, he does know more about them, though.
We do have Jax and Mule, but I doubt Jax would be willing to go back to his homeland. And Mule's kicked out.
Is a pariah. Correct.
Oh yeah, they're a savage. Watchman Savage.
By any shape or standard, a fine warrior. An excellent representation. Doesn't rely on arcane magics, human civilization.
But she does rely on gospel. Don't know how keen Orca society is to that. What religion or faith they have.
It wasn't the light that betrayed them, but the hands of man.
It sounds like we have our best delegates.
Well, as much as I hate reassigning her, I think that might be the play.
Where is she currently stationed?
I would like to keep the continuity of Corvallis' team. They seem to work fairly well together. However, must put our
Relax.
best foot forward.
Hmm.
As you see him finish writing a note, he tucks it away before leaning forward onto his elbows and crossing his fingers, thinking. I could handle the bulk of the nobility. Perhaps not win them all, but enough to amass sizable support. It'll be slow going, as all things are with aristocracy and nobility. And we have a lot of ground to make up. But I'm afraid even the best and brightest that the dark has to offer isn't going to outwit me in this area.
Out of game, Clint didn't hear about what happened with Doran, right? With his family? That hasn't gotten divulged at all, right?
Probably not, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. If you're looking for allies, sir, could lean on Doran's house. They're stationed here in the city.
I wouldn't count on that.
Why so?
Time heals all wounds, but it leaves infections to fester.
Bad blood still festering?
Much like our Grand Watcher. The young noble left his house as the future heir. However, they had a lot more to lose. He was not trotted off like a hero. That aside, how did your talk with the Grey Man go?
Immediately lock eyes with him.
You see him staring blankly ahead.
How the heck do you know about that?
There are few things that escape my grasp.
If you have the time and are willing, I'd love to learn some of that.
I was able to teach your classmate Flora a thing or two.
And she's often disappeared, putting your teaching to proper work.
Tasked appropriately, Clint.
Tasked appropriately and disappearing. That's part of that task. I'm sure she's safe, though. As for your question, sir. Looking at Maven, Zion the Wanderer was here in the city. We had a chat. He says he's willing to help where he can, to whatever machination he's rooted in. Gave me the advice of... Thinks for a moment. Going to the place before there are vessels. Shrugs. Not quite sure what he means by it, though.
Use the exact words he used.
Thinks for a moment, crosses his arms. Where vessels were created. Where it all began.
I see. And what did he speak with your friend Doran about?
Oh my god! That's what was up with Doran. I'm afraid that I don't know, sir. I'll go check in with him afterwards. Thank you for bringing it up, though.
You see him just lean forward still, sort of lost in thought. I merely asked the question, Clint. But sometimes that is enough.
It was a question I didn't think existed. And for someone like me, that's monumental.
Now the question would be, has he spoken to anyone else in your class outside of my purview?
If he manages to dodge you, sir, I'd be concerned. I can make the rounds, but I imagine if such conversations were intended to be secret, I doubt I'll be able to scour them. But I'll make the rounds nonetheless. Put in the effort. Is there a reason, sir, you said my class in specific? I'm aware of His Majesty's attention on us, but
Once is happenstance, twice a coincidence. Third time is a coordinated effort.
I always heard there's no coincidences in espionage.
That's fairly wise.
We make two. We'll see if there's a third, sir. And perhaps they haven't had the conversation yet. There's still time.
Your time in Sycusia, when you were away from the Grand Watcher, did anything happen that you were holding tight to the chest?